What is up, everybody? It's Reverse here today, and we're gonna talk about the HBO's The Last of Us series. This show is doing extremely well, so much so that they have announced they are working on season 2 at the moment because of the show's success. I believe they have the stats right here. The Last of Us episode 1 has now been viewed by more than 22 million people in the United States alone. That is a lot of people, so that's not even including worldwide audience. So this show is doing very well for HBO. So they're gonna do part 2. But with them doing part 2, season 2, they're actually going to focus on part 2 of The Last of Us. And I had the most, that game had a lot of controversy when that game released. So this is kind of interesting how people, how the new call fans of this series are going to take part 2, because a lot of people were angry with how part 2 ended up, with how one of the characters is not going to be in part 2. So they're going to be introduced to Abby. Abby is another controversial character people don't like as well too. So I didn't hate part two's story. I thought it was okay. I didn't like it as much as part one, but I didn't hate it as much as other people did. But it's just gonna be interesting to see when Abby gets introduced. Obviously, one of people's fan favorites they've seen from season 1 of The Last of Us. How they gonna react to season 2, because this got the most controversy. I think The Last of Us Part 2 got ridiculous on the Game of the Year awards, but it received a lot of controversy and hate as well too. So probably got as much hate as awards it got it, to be honest. So yeah, I'm just curious what people saying about this. Because people are definitely loving the first season of The Last of Us show, but will they like the second one? I never understood why people hate the narrative of part 2 so much. Okay, so I guess spoilers, but who hasn't played The Last of Us 2 at this point? I mean, I guess not. So if you are a, I just thought about that. If you are a TV show viewer of The Last of Us show, this we're gonna have spoilers up ahead because of some people. Things happen in part 2 that you probably don't know if you haven't played the video game. So spoiler, fair warning. But let's get into it. This guy says Joel Duff served the story very well. It reintroduced gravity to the world and allowed Ellie to really shine and to walk in his hateful past footsteps. Abby is a flawed protagonist, and that is cool. Okay. Bye bye Pedro. Pretty much. He's gonna meet a golf club or some. I guess they might do a different method, but he's definitely probably not gonna be in part 2. Unless they fully change it, which I don't think they're gonna do. We all know how that first episode will go. Got this expression right here. Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be funny because the people who haven't played the game, who are just not knowing what's gonna happen, they're gonna be super shocked. They definitely have this expression right there. Um, People who don't know versus the people who know. I ain't trying to see Abby for 7 episodes. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be a mixture of Abby and Ellie in part 2, probably. I guess they're gonna switch off between the two perspectives, like they did in the game as well too. I'm just genuinely curious how part 2 is gonna do more than the first season, because first season people are loving the first season. I'm just very curious how the second season is gonna perform. As the second season is going to get as much hate as the actual the second game got. I'm just curious. Um, Part 2 fits so much better as a TV show plot than it could ever as a game plot, so I can't wait to see how it turns out. Perfect casting for Abby. Oh, that's just ridiculous. I got excited for a second, then I remember at the beginning of part 2. A lot of people will be disappointed. Love Part 2, the depth of those complicated emotions really shine with everyone's disappointment from it. It seriously accomplished what it tried to do, and I applaud it for that. Okay. Leave Joel alone. That's not happening. Jeez. If they follow the story of part 2, I just won't watch it. Oh man, I think part 2 wrote Joel wrong. They made him suddenly weak to fit the narrative, when even in the show he is military trained, vigilant, and doesn't trust easily. It's gonna be a lot of butthurtness when part 2, when Last of Us Part 2 show drops. A lot of people are gonna be butthurt when that episode 1 drops. Um, Cope and Seethe Part 2 haters, Druckman stays winning. Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do this. That is kind of true. Like he says, Ellie has to be recasted, right? Unless they expect us to believe that Bella is fighting Abby. Yeah, Abby is a really buff woman. I don't see Bella Ramsey as we see her right now be able to go toe to toe with a real buff, masculine, like bodybuilder type woman. I don't see that happening. So who knows? Because I think they're doing part 2 immediately after season 1 ends, or they're probably working on it right now. So they definitely have to change some aspects up because I don't see that being realistic. The actors, especially the actors they got right now, fighting against a bodybuilder type woman, I don't see that happening. These memes are hilarious. What is this? Like a Wii game? Had a good run. Let us all bow our heads and wish him the best in Yale 4. Jeez. The same people who begged for season 1 not to be different from the game are the same people whining for season 2 to be different from the game. Hilarious. Yeah, that is kind of hypocritical. Like you praise them for how they did season 1 because it has how accurate it is to the game, but now they want them to change part 2 because of the story, that story aspects they didn't like. Just hilarious. So season 2 is going to be garbage. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, I just want to see the outrage online. Like, I kind of want to see that more than the show itself. I just kind of want to see the people get super enraged. The people who haven't played the video games see what happens in part 2. I kind of just want to see that more than anything else. So that's worth it for me. You know, I do think the show's pretty good though, but I kind of just want to see the people, the outrage people have for this. In the middle of right now, and I just just reduced the drinking. But yeah, I'm gonna include it right here. This is gonna be interesting if they're doing part 2, even though the game had a lot of controversy. They're still doing part 2 for season 2 of The Last of Us. So yeah, definitely want to see how that turns out. But definitely want to see your thoughts down below about this. Leave a like this video. And as always, thanks for watching, and peace.